Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Brickoligist Animations Awards Ceremony 2026 edition. And my friends, let me tell you, it's so good to be back here, after, a great year that was last year's Brickoligist Animations Awards Ceremony, and just be able to do it for this year, because while personally in my life, the last year hasn't been great for, brickologist animations and for just the filmmaking I've seen in general. It's been absolutely fabulous. So, I'm so glad to have you all along for the journey. And yeah, I just hope now that we can get ourselves up and ready to go, and yeah, I suppose what I should do is I should give a basic introduction to the awards. Yes, this is the third edition of the Brickologist Animations Awards Ceremony, previously hosted in 2024 and 2025. But yeah, basically, what the Brickologist Animations Awards are like, it was an idea I had those 2 years ago in 2024, and it's basically my way of recognizing the work which you guys put into my films, because I can say my hard work in my animation, editing, directing, writing. I can say a lot of that makes my films, but it's not I have to remember as well that for you guys, it's some of the work ye put in that really, helps me, particularly in voice acting. However, good friends like, really in cheesy acts, they all have written for me. So, it's that you're really helpful in many ways, to all those who've ever worked with me, and this is just my personal way of recognizing, all your valiant efforts. And, we can see here last year's winners, 2025, with Person of the Year being Cheesy Axe, a phenomenal win for him. Selfless Service, Chicken and Chuck, another great win. Breakthrough Star, George, the best male voice actor, the real hamburger, Ridian. Best female voice actor, Cat the Cat, of course, and editing maestro, Cheesy Axe, obviously as well. And it's just I find a brilliant way, to recognize all the hard work that's been done, and it's not even just across my films, because I like to be, like I try to be looking out for the best filmmakers I can find now, and just I like to see this as a way to give back to you guys. So yeah, I suppose that's kind of the purpose of the Brickoligist Animations Awards Ceremony. That's an introduction to them, and yeah, basically, this year, we have the People's Awards, and but firstly and foremost, we have the Animation Awards. So I believe they're on the next slide here. And yes, the best film awards polling results. So, firstly, we have the best new Avengers saga film. Fourth place, Waiting for an Alibi, 0% of the votes. Then, episode 8, Silent Retribution, 13%. In second place, episode 5, Heroes Rising, with 25% of the vote. And finally, in first place, with 63% of the vote, episode 6, Rat of Red Hulk. And I mean, just for a basic reaction to that, it's I'm quite pleased that you guys voted Rat of Red Hulk as the best film from the new Avengers saga season 3 this year, because while most of the saga has been very consistent and very solid, I think personally, I myself, and even I've heard enough reactions to definitively conclude that Rat of Red Hulk has probably been, the best of the lot this season when it comes to New Avengers. Episode 5, Heroes Rising Side and Retribution. They're fitting second and third, you know. I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't put them above Red of Red Hulk, but certainly not bad episodes in their own means. Then moving on to the best Sonic the Hedgehog's extended universe film, you know, and this is a collaboration in this is a bit of a collaboration, you know, with Cheesy Axe, because his film Shadow the Hedgehog: Reckoning of the Future is in third place with 14% of the vote, you know, and at least that is above TLSMS Episode 7 Echoes of Freedom, which is 0% of the vote. Now, lads, I don't know about you, but I find that a bit ironic considering it's the most popular episode of season 2. But anyway, in second place, we have episode 5 of season 2 in TLSMS, and that is And Knuckles, still one of the worst titles I ever came up with 29% of the vote. But that is one of the best episodes to come from TLSMS, in all fairness, and it wasn't even written entirely by myself. That, my friends, would have to go to The Real Hamburger. But in first place, of course, is the New Avengers and Sonic Squad crossover, The Conquest of Kang, with 57% of the vote. And, you know, to be totally fair, lads, you know, it might seem a bit unfair to include such a massive film, you know, with the Sonic the Hedgehog Awards. But at the same time, you know, I don't know where I could have really squeezed it else, you know. And not a whole lot has been produced, you know, with Sonic TLSMS in the last 2 years, you know. It's only really been, you know, New Avengers, like, you know. Even I was thinking there recently, lads, you know, there was 8 months of last year where I wasn't really producing, you know, any of Sonic TLSMS or New Avengers, you know, because it went from short film to the crossover to the Wolverine show. So, you know, it was hard, lads, because, you know, I don't know if it was entirely fair to count it or not, but at the same time, it was probably for the best. So, yeah, that is the best Sonic the Hedgehog extended universe film category, you know, winners. But then we have Best Amateur Animators Production Films, and this is a category entirely reserved for my three friends, the Ridians, Georges, and Cheesy Axe's films, you know, on the amateur animators. Not even my films can get on there. And yes, as we can see here at the bottom of the table, Tears of Beers, episode 1, and Peter the Plant in the interview have 17% of the vote each, finishing in joint last place, or joint third place, which sounds a bit nicer. Then we have the Aardman Show episode 3, Taxi Trouble, with 25% of the vote, you know. And finally, in first place, we have Stevel, White-Eyed Rat, with 42% of the vote. And now let's, I suppose, from looking at that, you know, I myself am a bit ashamed that Tears of Beers wasn't higher, and I suppose maybe Ridian, you know, you could say the same for Peter the Plant in the interview. But to be fair, the Aardman Show episode 3, Taxi Trouble, pretty solid. You know, I don't mind it in second place, and first place, Stevel, White-Eyed Rat. Absolutely, you know, because to be honest, lads, I think if there was any one film you could say was robbed last year, it was that one, because it unfortunately premiered too late. But to be honest, when I look back at it, you know, Stevel could have helped George, who was the breakthrough star last year, really win. So yeah, you know, I'm glad it's come back this year. So, you know, for the top place, woo, Stevel. Yeah, ways to go, Ridian. And yeah, then we've best subscriber film, you know, and look, moving on down here in third place, you know, or in joint second place, we're gonna say, not joint last place, because that doesn't sound very nice either. We have Buff Puff Zero, Making It Myself by PFP host, you know, 20%. Apologies, I wasn't sure how exactly to credit the channel, so yeah, that's what I went with, the simplest thing. And Mutants versus Avengers by Cosmic Voice, each with 20% of the vote, you know. To be fair, lads, I watched both films, and I can't really say, that either film was particularly better than the other. So, it was a bit of a stalemate. But then, Lego Heroes Unite in number one by 2x2 Brick Films, or my very good friend, I won't say her name publicly, but yeah, with 60% of the vote at number one, yeah, I think that's pretty fair, considering it's a very interesting, a very exciting film, for the 2x2 Brick Films channel. And yeah, if that's some of 2x2 Brick Films early films, I'd really be excited to see what her later films are going to be like. So it's going to be very exciting anyway. So, to summarize, the best new Avengers saga film goes to Episode 6, Wrath of Red Hulk, with 63% of the vote. The best Sonic the Hedgehog Extended Universe film is the New Avengers and Sonic Squad crossover, The Conquest of Kang, with 57% of the vote. The best amateur animators production films, with three written productions from the real hamburger, by the way. It finishes with Stevel, the only one by Charge, at the top with 42%. And the best subscriber film goes to Lego Heroes Unite by 2x2 Brick Films with 60% of the vote. And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the Best Film Awards polling results. And I suppose I've kept you long enough, but I'm gonna bring up my good friend, Rudian, on stage, to just for a basic reaction. Rudian, tell me what you think of the results here.
I'm very proud of everyone. I'm very proud of everyone. George, next time you're not stealing it from me, I'm gonna make sure you don't. Um, but yeah, I think everyone's done really well. Um, so I don't know much to say, actually. Um, pardon my uhs and ums. Um, I'll say one thing about each of the winners. Um, episode 6, Wrath of Hulk, very good. I very memorable. Um, Crossover, also very memorable. Uh, Steve or White Eyed Wrath, very much showed off George. And then the best subscriber film, I'm going to trust your word on this because I didn't get to watch it. I'm guessing is very good as well. So, that's my general reaction. I'm sorry if I'm not very good at reacting.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's completely diplomatic of you to be fair, Rudian. So, yeah, that's all you have to say.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, all right. You can.
yeah. Back
Uh,
later.
you, you'll be coming back anyway. I can tell you that, Rudian. So yes, that everyone is the best film awards polling results. Now we move on, to the awards of the people, and across here, well, I suppose should I really explain this? Because it basically is what it is, like the awards there were for the best films, and they were decided by polls, lads. I put up on YouTube, that had a deadline, let's say a few weeks ago or something. But these awards, are chosen by myself personally, in order to decide, who I think is the true winners of each of these awards. And we have best male voice actor, best female voice actor, editing maestro, selfless service, breakthrough star, and Brickoligist Animations Person of the Year award. So, firstly, I suppose we get on to the voice acting awards: best male voice actor and best female voice actor. Now, these are always very hard awards to decide, lads, because the amount of quality voice acting talent I've worked with, over the last year alone, I'd say, is absolutely astronomical. Like there's so many quality voice actors I work with, and like, maybe this isn't the case so much with the female voice actors, but like with the male voice actors, I could literally have a second category for the award alone. So it takes a lot, and like these, these are very, I think these are very, some of the most prestigious awards that you can claim in the whole of this ceremony, really. But yeah, the voice actors, they bring so much life to the films, and there wouldn't be much emotion, in the story without them. So without further ado, I present to you the shortlist, and winners of the Best Male Voice Actor Award, and the shortlist and the winners of the Best Female Voice Actor Award. So, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, for the Best Male Voice Actor Awards, our Best Male Voice Actor is my father, Sir Dad, Sir Mike, whatever I call him. And the reason why I chose him is because of his exceptional performance as, James Howlett, Logan, or the Wolverine in the Wolverine show last year. In second place, we have my brother Chuck, and nepotism aside, the reason I chose him was because he has done absolutely brilliantly in the voice acting roles over the last 2 years, considering where he came from as an underappreciated voice actor, who sometimes struggled with his lines. But, over the last 2 years, he's really proven himself, especially last season when he did a phenomenal cover job as Tails, but also Nine in the crossover. And ever since then, he's been really solid, whether he's been Vision in the new Avengers saga, Tails, and Shadow the Hedgehog, in the Shadow the Hedgehog film with Cheesy Axe. Oh, lads, and he's, I should probably announce that Chuck is now the official voice actor of Tails and Sonic the Hedgehog TLSMS because, former voice actor Mario Plushie Maniac has stepped down. So it's gone on to him, and I think he totally deserves it. In third place, then we have George, and George is the only amateur animator to have gotten onto this list because of his absolutely phenomenal voice acting. And this isn't to discredit Ridian, who won the award last year, but some of George's is acting, it's just on a completely it's sometimes sometimes he acts roles, and I think really don't agree with me, to be fair. He sometimes acts roles that are so so phenomenal. Like, it was a bit of a joke role he got Wade Whipping in Sonic TLSMS last year. But like, you know, he really delivered as Kang for me in the crossover, as Thunderbolt Ross in season 3 of the New Avengers saga. But it's also, a film, that I can't really ignore, like, and while it might not be his most, his most well-known role, who he plays in War of the Worlds by the Real Hamburger. He was absolutely exceptional in that role, Like, the emotion he brought was, another level completely. So genuinely, John should have won this. Had it not been, that my father and my brother were ahead of him, and whether that's biased or not, I can't really tell. But in all fairness, lads, there's credit to be given to all three of them. And, to George, all I can say is just keep doing what you're doing, man, because, you're not a million miles away from the top anyway. And in fourth place, and this is a bit of an honorable mention, to Celtic music, and well, some of you may not recognize the name immediately. He was the one who performed as Donald Pierce in the Wolverine show, and that was one of the most scary voices I've ever seen. Like, like the depravity and the raspiness of the voice. Oh, it was just, it was perfect for the character I was trying to portray. And yeah, like, and I should tell you, I mean, I don't know. Should I really be saying this because Tears of Beers episode 2 hasn't come out yet? But we've also gotten him on board for that because we needed to replace a role, and he really stepped up into it, you know. So he's coming on to that as well to do a cover job, which is brilliant of him. And it's great to have another musician on. But overall, it's he's a brilliant voice actor. So have to give credit to him. Then we have best female voice actor, and the female voice actors is like I said, it might be as competitive. There might be as many names who compete in this as the male category, but it's an equally quality category. I'll tell you, like the four options I had here, they weren't easily decided. I'll tell you that. So because I'll just say all the girls here, who played characters in my films, like they've all played exceptional roles and exceptional parts, and they're only really separated by very small margins. So, firstly, in first place, we have the one and only C.C. Clarke, who played X-23 or Laura in the Wolverine show, Elektra in the Wolverine show and New Avengers, and yes, not only has she had a really quality voice, she's also been a big help to me personally in trying to find other voice actors. And if it weren't for you, CC, there'd be some, I'd be stuck in places. Like, even I'll tell you a story. CC wasn't originally meant to be playing who is it, Elektra on the Wolverine show. But when I was stuck, and needed someone, she stepped up, and more power to her for that, because she's a brilliant voice actor, and I couldn't thank her enough. But anyway, Cece Clark is first place. Then in second place we have my sister, Chicken, and while not exactly up there in the last few years, she delivered an absolutely exceptional performance, to last year in the film, that nobody might have expected, and that was in my K-pop Demon Hunters parody, Huntrix the Great Waffle Caper with Shang-Chi. But yes, I personally believe her performance in that was so charismatic, and it was so entertainable that she deserved the second place here for that role alone. It was brilliant. In third place, we have Colleen, and she came in as well for cover as Sarah in the New Avengers saga. And to be honest, I'd have to praise Colleen as much as Cece or Chicken, because like, Sarah's the original character in the New Avengers saga now, and there's nothing wrong with original characters. It's just sometimes people aren't really interested in them, and they can be quite difficult, to get cast members for, and this or that. But Colleen was up to the challenge, and she really stepped in and she made Sarah her own. From what I've seen, her work in the saga is pretty good. Like, her love story with Bucky in season 3 is fresh, and a lot of that is down to the emotion she puts into the voice. So I honestly have to say that Colleen, you deserve third, absolutely. And in fourth place, we have Kate, or Cat, however you pronounce it. I'll forever butcher it. But yes, you absolutely deserve fourth place as well, because to be fair to you, you've been quite a consistent voice actor for me, always kind of filling in, where I need you to, whether that be as Kamala in the New Avengers saga, as Maria in Sonic TLSMS last year, and generally, in the Admin show, we don't forget your work in that either. And yeah, generally, you might be. You might be up at the top with these three, but like I said about George earlier, you're not a million miles away. Like, if you work hard enough, you'll be at the top one day. So yeah, and even the last thing I said there, that can be applied to any of you. That even those who didn't make these lists, and there are plenty lads who may feel as though they were robbed, and should have been on these lists. But all I'll say is that I'm not trying to be unfair, but I'm trying to give those who I believe are my personal, picks. You might have been picked another day or this or that, but ultimately, lads, it's up to yourselves to really just prove it. And yeah, look at some of these people here, like Chuck, CC Clark, Chicken. Some of these people had to come a long way to prove themselves, and if they were able to do so, what's stopping you? And anyway, I believe that brings us to the halftime interval of the Brickoligist Animations Awards Ceremony. So, yes, that has been the awards so far. And just for now, you can all take a break. And I will say there's an advertisement section coming up. So you might want to stick around for that. But take 2 minutes there because I'll be going on mute myself to get a drink of water and yeah, enjoy it. Just have a breather. I need one myself. Oh, hello. I'm back after my little breather anyway. Oh, lads, I'll tell you, it's very hot in Ireland, I can certainly say, and yeah, I'm struggling for breath to be honest with you. But hey, I'm not gonna let that stop me, as this one-off event of the year, and I wouldn't do it on any other night. So, since I'm here, I might as well keep doing it. But anyway, that's this is the halftime interval, and obviously I have these few nice images up here. Obviously, tears of beers, with the men of the people. Down below that, we have an image representing my channel with the Iron Man, the Sonic, my own logo, Shaun the Sheep, amateur animators. You know, for me, that really represents, who I am as Brickoligist Animations. Classic logo, I had, and just the behind the scenes. I believe that's from the Conquest of Kang last year, or the Tales film, which was the prelude to that, obviously. But anyway, I believe it's time for some ads. But these are not just any ads, my friends. Oh no, they're special ads. They're ads, which promote, smaller content creators rather than products. So, firstly, I'm gonna, if I believe, the real hamburger is still here and live, I'm gonna move on to the first ad because he himself is involved in this, and he might have a few words to say on it before I play it for you. So come up here, Ridian. What what is this you're presenting with? What you're presenting with the ad here?
So this is a little teaser trailer for an upcoming project me and my friends that actually aren't really in the scene for animation stuff. We're making this. There is a familiar voice, so we'll know George is in it. But it's only a little teaser. I don't want to spoil too much. But it I'll just let you play it. That's all I got to say. Really, I'm a bit under contract. Whatnot. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Let's watch it. So you'll stay up here with me for a second, and we'll see. Oh,
Yeah.
that's. Well, that's let me play it. I don't know if it'll let me play it or not. Oh no,
Huh.
that's oh that's not good now. Hang,
No.
you know what I can do actually. Hold on a second. I've a way around this. What I can do is I can open another tab, and I'll present the slide from there.
Yeah.
So I can share screen. That's all I need to do. So yeah, I'll make that slide bigger. There we go.
Yeah.
That should hopefully do the trick. If yeah, yeah. All right. So I'll
Yeah.
probably remove the actual presentation, but here we go. This is the trailer for the Real Hamburgers next project with a few of his friends and George.
This is async research log 6423. I'm Dr. Heath Gordon, and I'm conducting an evaluation with Mark Elias, who's recently been facilitated from the back rooms. Mr. Elias, do you have any questions?
What is this place?
I'm not classified to tell you that, Mr. Elias. Am I correct in saying you have a camcorder?
And that is the trailer, friends. So, yeah, I just suppose there's a bit of an there's a horror feeling off it. Would I be right in saying that, Ridian?
Yeah. But I will say, I think this is the first fan project I've done since War of the Worlds, which was back in October as well. So it's a bit of a kind of a return to form for me, I would say.
Yes. That it looks exciting anyway. There seems to be an element of found footage to it, even and
Mm.
considering the success of the backroom film coming out, this could be a real smash hit, depending. So all the best for you in that.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. I'll let you.
And yes, that is the. Yeah, Pal, this is brilliant. I didn't mean to kick you off downstage so early, but yeah, that is Ridian's film, and we'll move on then, to this next ad, and I suppose this is what I normally do, but this is for one of my friends actually, and yes. So you all know Celtic, who I was talking about earlier, a voice act. But anyway, he asked me to promote this. So this is for a group called Lugardon Limerick. And, to be honest, I don't know what Lugardon necessarily means myself, even though I'm Irish, which not great. But anyway, this is basically what Celtic told me, So Lugardon Limerick is a group, which is run by alternative and queer teenagers, for teenagers aged between 13 to 19 who are alternative, queer, or maybe don't have many friends because they struggle to talk to people, or are different, or any other reasons, Everyone is welcome as long as they follow the rules of the group, And yeah, personally, I believe that this group, speaking on behalf of Celtic myself, who's a very good friend of mine, it's just a group, for people who are different, and I believe that there is a lovely idea, that he wants to get every, he wants. He wants people to be able to have a place, where they can talk to, and some people do struggle to make friends, and well, I know, not everybody is, not everybody who's viewing this right now lives in Limerick, but yeah, if I've any Limerick viewers, in Ireland watching, please, please go check it out. Like there's the contact details there on Instagram, TikTok, or Discord. And yeah, that is Lugger Don Limerick, which Celtic wanted me to promote. And moving on anyway is the final lad, and this is from my good friend Cosmic Voice, to promote his channel and his universe, which I'd say is actually very like the New Avengers saga in a way. But I'll let him do the talking with his own trailer here.
Hello, everybody. This is Cosmic Voice from Intergalactic Productions, and while I wasn't able to make any new animation for this bit, I'm still very happy to be here and have the chance to tell you guys about my long-running series on my channel, Avengers Multiverse. For some pretty easy context about the show, it's about the Avengers along with other iconic Marvel characters and their missions to understand and deal with the known concept of the multiverse. This includes new familiar characters, interesting locations, and plenty of references to the overall Marvel multiverse. Along with some familiar Avengers like Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, the show also has other popular characters like Spider-Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, and Ant-Man joining along the missions, and I'm even working to have some other known teams and heroes involved in the project, like the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and maybe even iconic villains like Ultron, Magneto, and Loki. This was my first big project from when I started my channel a few years ago, and is basically my love letter towards Marvel, Lego, and my passion of filmmaking. I'm still working on the show today since I've got plenty of ideas and episodes that I want to make for it, but that's also the reason why I wanted to share with you guys, especially if you're also into Marvel, Brick films, or you just want to support another project. So if you guys want to go check it out, visit my channel under the Avengers Multiverse playlist, and feel free to talk to me if you want to be a part of future episodes and projects. But anyways, that's all I have to say for now. Thanks to Brickoligist Animations and for all of you listening. But now, back to the award show.
Well, I genuinely have to say that Cosmic, you are most kind for that, for humbly returning us to the awards, so, and like considering what's been said, I don't think I have to explain much more. But personally, guys, I would recommend you go watch his channel because it is very like the New Avengers saga, and that is a big connected universe, and it could be something exciting to look forward to. So yeah, I guess that's they're the ads. I wanted to promote. So we have a horror film, an exciting backrooms horror film, coming out by The Real Hamburger. I have a group, an Irish group based here in County Limerick, called Lugger Don Limerick, for alternative teenagers who struggle to make friends. And basically, saga promoted by Cosmic Voice, for which is very like the New Avengers, So I hope you guys go after this video, and try check all of them out. And if you're interested, that is, you don't necessarily have to check them out. But anyway, I suppose we can get back on back on the road with this show. So, secondly, we have the award now for Back to the People Awards. Well, I'm just confirming the winner of the award, basically. Well, Editing Maestro. So I suppose Editing Maestro could be described as the award for the best editor I've seen, and it's not as an easy award to decide because I have to rely on other people's films to decide the award, because most of my films while there would have been a time that someone like Cheesy Axe would have edited my films, like most of my films are practically all my films now are edited predominantly, at least in the visual stage, by me. So in the audio visual stage, I suppose you could say it by me. So yeah, I have to go to other people's channels to look for the videos. But I do believe it's safe to say that The Real Hamburger has been the best editor I've seen within the last year. So, Ridian, come up on stage here. How do you feel about being Editing Maestro this year?
Chopped, I will say. I didn't expect to be back up this soon. I'm not gonna lie. I don't.
I do need to think so soon.
I can't remember what I'm edited. I'm not gonna lie. I always move on so quickly. But yeah, I got the award.
Well,
Well, let's
Yeah,
say
I
about
suppose.
the other two I do know quite well, and obviously they're brilliant heads. There's Cosmic Voice from the trailer I've seen, and from all the background footage, it does look pretty good as well. So let's not forget the others.
Yep. Well, to give, I suppose, to give yourself a reminder, Ridian, and to the viewers out there who may wonder what Ridian's done to give himself such an award. Ridian's, editing has really been on the top game over the last 2 years. When it comes to kind of managing his scripts effectively. In the last year, that is, with TLSMS and New Avengers, when it comes to editing together Sonic the Hedgehog, not Sonic the Hedgehog, Taylor Smith, sorry, Tears of Beers, that is, and Peter the Plant, and and what about War of the Worlds? All of these are very creative ventures, and sometimes they don't always work. But to be fair to you, Ridian, your editing ideas has been really innovative, and they've certainly been improving, as the projects go on and go by, even with the horror films like, Into the Darkness, or the Backrooms trailer there, which looks very interesting. So I personally believe that this is why you've guaranteed yourself the spot of best editor. And yes, we could also praise George. George gets in solely for his exceptional editing on Stevel. Cheesy Axe number 3, gets in for his consistent style of editing, whether that be on Tape Together or a few of his other films which he's done throughout the last years, like The Armin Show. And last but not least is Cosmic Voice. And to be fair, Cosmic, you're not a bad editor by any means, but you're just not at the stage as my other friends, yes, But editing, it's something which does take experience, doesn't it, Ridian?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, first time I edited, I had no idea what I was doing. It came out as a mess. So it's just a slow building process, really. It's always about learning.
Indeed, this is, and like you have to get, like there's many different forms of editing, you have to do, like when it comes to the visual, audio, credits, digital effects, versus practical. Like there's so many, things you have to be thinking about. And like, sometimes you have to be thinking about these things in the scripting stage, in the filming stage, and then like, finally in the backroom stage, like, or backrooms reference, but like,
Yeah,
yeah, basically, it's something, it is one of those things which is on your mind constantly, and just figuring, even the simpler ways. I suppose that's my biggest tip. Like even just doing the simplest edits can go a long way, can't they? Like having, let's say, music in the background of a film, to add the atmosphere, like for like you'd want a dark, heavy tone, for something more horror, or maybe if you want to do some rad action scene, you do some classic rock, classic 80s rock, like, and that's
yeah,
simple edits like those can go a really long way, can't they?
yeah. It can quite indeed.
I suppose I'll pop you back down anyway. So,
I'll speak again in a bit.
Speak again. Save your voice is what I'll say. But anyway, that is the editing maestro award. The real hamburger. Ridian, congratulations, George. Equally cheesy. Quite well as well, and cosmic voice. It's great you're all here. Like if I had to pick my personal favorites that you guys have edited, for you, Ridian, it's Tears of Beers. For you, George, it's Stevel. For you, Cheesy, it's Taped Together. And finally, for you, Cosmic Voice, it's got to be Mutants versus Avengers. But anyway, that is, that is the editing maestro award. Congratulations, Ridian, on winning it. Moving on to the next slide, selfless service. And I suppose selfless service, which is known as most helpful last year, I believe, for a reason I don't quite know. I think I just lost the original award. But I suppose editing maestro is based off, let's say the work, I've like no, I'm just thinking about it. Like, best male voice actor, best female voice actor, and editing maestro. Like, they're already based off people's work in films. Like you can't really base them off anything else. Other than what you've seen from them. But selfless service is very different, and that you don't have to necessarily be seeing this work in physically in every film that I'd make or review or looking over for this. But selfless service to me anyway is when somebody provides you assistance consistently and provides great help when you need them the most. And and they don't even have to be the best voice actor in the world, the best writer, the best editor. They just need to be someone who can have your back when you need them in filmmaking. And like there aren't many of those people out there, and it's sad to say, because we need more of those people in the world, because I personally believe that everybody should deserve somebody who has their back no matter what. Like, I'm so fortunate that I've so many people who've my back, but I know there's people that don't have anyone to hold their back in the world. So this is why I place such great emphasis on selfless service as well, because it just shows, in my opinion, who's going that extra mile, to just really make my job more easier, more enjoyable, and just a greater, happier time overall. And there's so many different people, who I could consider for selfless service. Like, I'll throw you a few mentions there. My whole family, who consistently, provide voice acting for me, across many of my films. CC Clark, obviously, who provided exceptional cover and recommendations for voice actors. Celtic, for offering to help, in Tears of Beers, and excuse me, absolutely nailing the part. And yeah, like there's just so many people you could really consider for this award. But I suppose I've gone with the best man I know, somebody who's helped me when it comes to voice acting, when it comes to editing, when it comes to writing, when it comes to brainstorming, when it comes to my own personal life, in general. So I don't know, call me biased or what, but I personally believe that the Selfless Service Award this year should rightfully go to Meridian again. Come up here, Meridian.
I'm back. I'm back. This is oh yeah. Well, I do talk to you quite a lot anyway, don't I? So it's not like I'm never there. London was pretty fun as well. So I would like to mention that meeting you in the gym was pretty fun. I wouldn't take it back to the world.
Yeah,
I was gonna say as well. If you remember the first year we did, you did it, because you didn't live stream it. I just remember I remember I remember just basically when I'm just going like flashbacks. That's all.
Oh yeah.
Remember that.
At least it's public on YouTube. At least people can watch this back for our efforts. But anyway, like I said, you have been a great help to me over the last year. Like I said, that is not just in filmmaking, which you're already exceptional in. It can be filmmaking, music making, personal life, all that, and you have been, you've proven it time and time again. You're a great friend in all those aspects. So I couldn't thank you more anymore.
But, yeah, I haven't got much else to say. So
Yeah. Oh, I suppose they'll pop you back down. So, and yeah, it's I suppose, friends, that the awards don't have much left in them. But now we come down to the final three. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Brickoligist Animations Awards podium finishers. So this includes third place, Brickoligist Animations Third Place Award. Second place, Brickoligist Animations Breakthrough Star Award. And finally, in first place, Brickoligist Animations Person of the Year Award. And now we're going to start straight into third place. So, to third place is, third place is it's like it's a bit of an interesting one, like it might be, it might be as prestigious as Breakthrough Star or as my apologies, Brickoligist Animations Person of the Year, obviously, but like it's a good one because like I feel as though this recognizes the person, like you might be at the top, but like it still recognizes the person who was kind of there, and was kind of helpful, and well, you might have had as a breakthrough of a journey as, let's say, you know let's say the Breakthrough Star, or you might be definitively out and out my most valuable person I've seen all year, that being the Brickoligist Animations Person of the Year. But like you've still put in the work, and I'm glad to see you here. So, ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present Brickoligist Animations Third Place Award this year to C.C. Clark, and the reason I do is because, I've already mentioned quality and versatility in her voice acting, and, extraordinary service to me in the fact that, she helped me find voice actors when I needed them. She herself was just an exceptional find because, I was struggling to find a voice actor for X-23. She showed up. I needed a voice actor for Elektra. She showed up, and like I know she's, I'd see things from her, and like I know her life is busy, and she doesn't exactly have the freedom that let's say I myself would, but she still does the work, and she still goes down there, when she has that, and she still delivers exceptional performances, with done rightly, and done the way I want. So yeah, I have to say I think third place is right for you, CC Clark. And now we move on to the Brickoligist Animations Breakthrough Star of the Year Award. And this is one which can mean a lot to some people because it signifies someone, in my opinion, who's had the most significant growth, because this can go from a star, like somebody who was not recognized at all, to somebody who is now recognized for their brilliant work, and their rise to the top, like somebody who put in the effort, and just after all, after slogging through, finally came out on top, and yeah, just just delivered when the time mattered. And while you may not be number one, it's great to see you here because you've had an exceptional journey. And I suppose I'll do a little bit explaining about my pick. So this man came from I remember 2 years ago when when a film I had with this guy premieres, and he wasn't that well received in his voice acting role for it because he was he struggled to say lines sometimes, and he struggled to deliver properly, and criticism, and he drew heavy criticism and flack, and to be honest, I wasn't a massive fan of it because I didn't like seeing it happen to him because it didn't deserve to be that way because I knew this guy found this boy found it hard, and it wasn't necessarily easy. But that being said, what happened last year was really phenomenal because essentially he was injected into Sonic TSMS, in the last episode of the series when I was missing a voice actor and badly needed a replacement. And what did he do? He delivered in the episode. And, that surprised everybody. And, he was greatly praised for it. And then what does he do? He continues this brilliant performance of the role into the Tales project, then, let's say Tails' voice actor comes back, for that project. But however, the voice actor for 9, unfortunately had to drop out in the crossover. And what does this boy do again? He steps up into the role of 9, which is completely different, and absolutely nails it yet again. So, and this has been a story, he's coming to the new Avengers saga now, with new confidence, he's performed exceptionally as Vision, with the smug, arrogant voice that has defined Vision's character for the last few episodes. But yeah, and I suppose what's even more meaningful to me about this year's breakthrough star is that he's none other than, my brother, who came out on top of all of it. And I'm talking about Chuck, of course. An extraordinary rise, phenomenal versatility in cover roles, and just an overall brilliant work ethic. To you, my brother, like, it means a lot to see you here because, after all that you went through, you showed me, like that it was worth it. And, you rose to the top when, when it seemed like everything was against you, you rose to the top, and, you're all the better because of it, now. And, you're one of my best voice actors, I can say. And, it's great to see you have this award, Chuck. So, ladies and gentlemen, brings us on to our final award of the year, Brickoligist Animations Person of the Year Award. And now, everybody, Brickoligist Animations Person of the Year Award is no Mickey Mouse Award. It comes after everything, it is the award which has, which every, the most prestigious, the biggest, the most important, everything else, which has come before us now is now completely inadequate because, with this one award, I decide, who, in my opinion, has been the best person, I've seen in filmmaking, with, in filmmaking, for, and working, for me, for themselves, or for others, and just, who's done it the best, So, yes, I suppose, there are many candidates always, who could have their names thrown in the hat for this. And, like, it's not an easy award to win because, even when I'm deciding myself, lads, sometimes it can be finicky to decide this award because, I want to say it's based on the amount of awards that a person wins, but then that's not entirely right either, because, you might necessarily be the best at this or that, but, if you're the best at multiple things, then you do deserve the award. However, the winner of Brickoligist Animations Person of the Award this year, I'll tell you a little bit about him, and I believe he told me last year that he, that considering, when I initially, I'll start again. But you see, the winner, this year, it's really exciting because, it goes back, to the first edition in 2024 when, the same guy won it, and you see, it goes back to last year because, last year, when the pressure was on, he was nowhere to be seen at this award. And like he told me he thought he could never do it again because the initial award ceremony, in 2024 wasn't competitive enough, and that he he made it seem like that he wasn't good enough, and that there wasn't enough quality competition around him in the initial awards, and that he wasn't as really as good as he's seen in the first. However, all I can say is that after a bit of a stumbling year in 2025, or for at least kind of the first half, continuing off the latter end of 2024, this man, came back, and he came back, after receiving, heavy flack, from one failing film, or maybe like, one or two failing films of his. And, it wasn't a big flashy rise, friends. It was a slow rise, but it was an impactful rise. He started with one film, and he slowly started to piece himself back together into a more formidable filmmaker, and a more consistent, hardworking, man. And he spread himself out a bit. He was smart in that because he's worked for me, and like I gave him specific work to do, and that I could see that really helped him, when it came to his versatility particularly. And yes, this all culminated, in my opinion, to the start of this year when this man, he made he made what is quite possibly one of the best episodes of the new Avengers saga, Century Scrambled Mind, Tears for Beers, and if you look at everything else he's done, co-writing one of the best episodes of The Armin Show, co-writing one of the best episodes of Sonic TSMS, or fully writing that, I should say, numerous, Peter the Plan films, and yeah, like, some of the most experimental, unique, and creative films I've ever seen because he's so innovative and he's, despite what happened, like it's very easy for someone to want to play it safe, after having, let's say one bad year or season, when their, ambitious film or project didn't go to plan. But this man, he didn't back away from the challenge. Instead, he adapted and he worked smarter, and that's contributed to his rise this year. But ladies and gentlemen, my dear brother won the last award, so I believe, that considering, he's already won 2 awards this, and he's had some of the best work, I've seen over the last year. I believe there's only one man who can win this award. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Brickoligist Animations Person of the Year, 2026, Ridian, or the real hamburger. Come on, Ridian.
Well, I thought I was having a sense of deja vu earlier.
Really, yeah.
It's good to be personally. I'm just kind of glad to have worked. Really, it's just always good moving forward. I think I've said to you before. Just keep going at it. Like I think I probably said that from you a little bit as well. Because from what I've heard from your stories, you've had your first channel deleted. We obviously when you're starting up with TSMS, maybe me and G Jackson have some great things to say about it. But you push forward yourself. So I've definitely taken that from you. So. I say we keep pushing. So.
Yeah, exactly. But just to summarize, Ridin, like I remember, like there wasn't like it feels as though everybody was down on you a bit, kind of for the first half of last year, and and despite that, you hung in there all that time. And you've really pulled through a lot of it in the last month, so genuinely, man, more praise has to be given to you. So it's great to see you, and despite what you said last year, I believe that you are definitely the rightful winner of the Brickoligist Animations Person of the Year award this year.
Thank you very much. It's always great to be present. Yeah. So it's still weird sense of deja vu. I'm happy.
Yeah, it's like 2024 all over again. But anyway,
Yeah.
I suppose this is the podium finishers. So everybody, first place, the real hamburger as Brickoligist Animations Person of the Year. Second place, Chuck as Breakthrough Star. Third place, CC Clark. And I suppose we should give an honorary fourth place to my father, for his brilliant work as Wolverine, in the Wolverine show. And I suppose fifth place, and fun fact, fifth place is here. Welcome to the stage, Charge. How does it feel to be, despite missing out on the top three, how does it feel to still be an honorary fifth place in the awards? Charge.
Good.
The man's
I think we should listen to a bit of Owl City.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, it feels great. I appreciate the appreciation. Honestly, it's not. I don't mind as much as to if I'm first or fifth or whatever. But yeah, I'm very happy to be appreciated for my hard work at times and not so hard work at other times.
Yeah, you deserve it, to be fair, George. I highlighted, earlier how Steve came back, this year and won out the amateur animators, best film for that, rightfully. And
Wow.
how your own voice acting, George, is clearly very, very strong, and some of the best work in the group has been, your voice acting solely based on your roles as Kang, Thunderbolt Ross in War of the Worlds, and even from the teaser in the back rooms, which was premiered earlier in this award, you definitely are. But I suppose, ladies and gentlemen, that's all, folks. So to those who watched this, and to those who attended, to you boys, thank you all so much for attending.
Thank you for having me. Sorry, I couldn't be here.
Great show. It's been a great show.
Oh yeah.
It sounded really great though from the 10 minutes. I'm sure it was great though because it's being held by Jim. So.
Yeah. And I'm Grinch. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to all the award winners, So congratulations to you, Radian, for picking up Person of the Year, Editing Maestro, Selfless Service. Congratulations to my brother Chuck, for his Breakthrough Star of the Year award. Congratulations to my dad for his Best Male Voice Actor of the Year award. And congratulations to CC Clark for Best Female Voice Actor of the Year and third place award. But other than that, well done to everybody else who participated, and for those who feel hard done by, this isn't the end of you. Because as I've seen, there have been times, when, even the two on the stage here, even when myself, when it all feels like the world's against you and you can pull through. But just keep working, lads, because, everybody goes through highs and lows in life, and we can go through highs and lows in various different things. It doesn't even just have to be filmmaking, but no matter what, lads, just hang in there, because there are, I like to say there are people, who are there for you, even when it mightn't seem like it. But there is truly. And just hang in there, and just know that even when it seems hard now, it is better for you to suffer now, and things get better later, because things always do. So that I suppose it's a bit harsh, but well done to everybody else who was in this. Because it's great to have you in here. It's great for the competition, and great for the Jeopardy. And I suppose I don't have much to say other than see you all next year at Brickoligist Animations Awards Ceremony 2027. Good night and God bless to you all. Iridian, thank you. George, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim, very much.
I suppose you two can leave the stream now if you want, gladly. But I've a song myself, or just a quick tune on banjo I'd like to play before I end the award myself. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is a tune for a bit of an upcoming project Ridian and I have, believe it or not. But yes, this is only an instrumental. This isn't a song now, Ridian, because I don't even have the proper words for it yet. But anyway, I present a banjo piece that may be important later. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it.